at the same time, I met lots of inspiring people. And in the UK, I will say that there's a lot of hardworking Indians. And this Indian guy, I remember it really well. He said to me, "How many houses have you got, Saira?" And I said, "One." And he said, "Why have you got one? You're arranging mortgages for everybody else and they're buying investment properties. Why have you only got one? Go and buy some houses." And I was still very in my prime and naive. So I just took the instruction from an elder and went off and did what I was doing for other people for myself. And I have to say that was the best thing that I did. I bought property. Go back 10, 15, 20 years, buying property was easier, and it was in any country that you're in, buying property is always going to have a long-term benefit to you because the house values always increase and there's so much more that you can do from that land ownership or the property ownership, because when you've got a roof over your head or you're renting the house out, there's always money to be made. So I was constantly running. Remember I said in the beginning that when I faced my initial inspirations challenges, it started that running off. Well, I was continuously running and it didn't stop. And I wanted to make money, not because I wanted lavish, not because I wanted lifestyle, because I was continuously measuring myself up. We always aim to please our parents. We always want to give the best that we can. And it's never usually for ourselves. It's majority of the time women do it for others. It's either for their parents or it's for their kids or it's for other people, because naturally we are programmed to be givers. So I was doing this, I was making money, I was buying properties, and then that led me into running my own financial brokerage. But I was going to take it easy, smaller scale of business, easier to manage, and it would be just me. And now I'm doing it because my children have grown up and I want to teach my children something. I had 5 children, of which my eldest is 28, and then I had 3 sons, and I have my youngest who is 8. So 20 years of my life have been servicing children or family. And I don't have any regrets. The only regrets that you will have is that when you're balancing that many children with your business and your life and all of this giving, you are going to make some sacrifices along the way. And we can talk about those at another date. And if there's any questions, then I can always answer them. So, you know, you've now got to the point where you've got these children. Life was fantastic. It was enjoyable. I had a great time. But the drive and the running just continues, because in life, you should never be giving up on anything. You should just be aspiring to do something better and open the doors to new challenges. So where did I get to? I think we've done the 20s, we've done the 30s, and what's missing? There's so much that I could tell you about my journey and what I did. The overview is business, children, and you have to still, within that, focus on yourself and your health, because none of it is going to grow without you as the main core key person in it all. So how did I go about that? I actually did it unknowingly. Because my time was so restricted, people often ask me, how do you fit everything in? And it was because of time management. So you would find me in the gym in the morning from 5:30 until 6:30. And that was the only time, because everybody else was asleep. That was the only time that I could actually do this. And this happened pre the 24-hour gyms, because they've only just really been a thing. Prior to that, I had to find my own way on my own. And I used to go outside for a jog. And if it was rain or snow, it didn't matter. I was out there. That did damage me a little bit, because unbeknown to me, I had a condition in my spine called degenerative disc disease. And because I was out pounding the pavements, my discs were squashing, and I was completely unaware of it until the point one of my discs split. Contents came out and it gave me a sciatic pain, numbness in my left leg. Fortunately, at the time I was working for the bank, they had private medical insurance. I went to get an MRI scan and they told me what the problem is. And they said to me, you are going to have an operation on your back. So you can imagine how scary that is, because your back is everything. You stand, you walk, you do on that one spine, backbone that keeps you upright. So now they're telling me that there's a 50-50 chance in this operation that you could end up paralyzed from the waist down. So now I have to decide, do I have the operation or do I live a life of steroid injections and medication, and then your whole lifestyle changes? So the option I had was 50% chance paralysis, 50% chance success, or I have to live a life in pain on steroids. So said my prayers and met the consultant, and I had the operation. And it was a success. He was very well known because it was private. You had the best of care compared to the government support that you have in the UK. And I was really fortunate, and I'm grateful that I had that. The next challenge came is that when they operate on your back, your muscle memory is wiped clean. You don't know how to walk. Could you imagine being in your late 20s and you can't walk, and you've got a business, and you've got children, and you've got still, you're supporting your parents? So again, you have to mindset, and physio came in, and it was steps at a time. And this doesn't just teach you about your health. It teaches you to reset in life. You're just in a position now where you learned how to walk, probably can't even remember how you learned how to walk, and now you're in a compass state of mind where you will acknowledge each step. So physio comes in, and the first step is getting out of bed. The next step is getting to the door. The next step is walking down the corridor. The next steps are taking a walk out in the gardens. And gradually I started to walk again, and I stayed in hospital maybe for about 10 days, but the rehabilitation took 3 months. But because even though the bottom end of me wasn't functioning as well as it should do, this upper half was still going, and my brain was still functioning, and my mouth is still going. So it didn't stop me. The doctors said take 3 months off, take 6 months off. But because of my fitness, I could say, because of my mind, I didn't take very long to recover. I still took the time out to make sure I was looking after myself health-wise. But I was back on my feet. Alhamdulillah, I'm happy about that. I'm grateful to everybody that was around that was supporting me at the time. But it's one of those challenges in life. You think that you're going to be moving forward. You build these structures and these strengths, but there's always knockbacks. There's always setbacks. But what do you do with them? You can either sit and wallow, or you can get up and you can do something about it. Because in your 20s, you don't want to be in a wheelchair. You don't want to be incapable or dependent. You want to have what you had before as a fully functioning adult that's capable of doing anything at a whim. Your choice, your decision, you can do. So that attitude really helped develop me, and that experience helped me. And I think everything happens in your life to teach you something. So rather than focusing on the negatives, I was on the positives.